Every time ETSU thinks they're out, they get pulled back in. Hey everybody, it's Marky Bilson, and I know that following a really disappointing loss last night for East Tennessee State to Mercer, people are saying it's over, no chance at an at-large bid for the NCAA tournament, and that means, the same old with mid-major basketball, really college basketball in general. It's the 3 games that you play in the conference tournament to get into the NCAA tournament that matters, and very little else, and certainly that's going to be what it looks like is going to be the case for East Tennessee State this year. But is it? Well, let's first talk about last night's game. Classic letdown game after the victory almost in front of a packed house on Saturday against Chattanooga. In fact, I think maybe one of the reasons why there was a letdown is that, folks, I'm big on ETSU Chattanooga isn't the rivalry anymore. It's ETSU UNCG, and frankly, ETSU has gone in the left lane and passed Chattanooga by a long time ago. But here were the reports of the athletic department handing out free tickets to the students so that they'd go to the Chattanooga game, and then it just seemed like such a letdown when Mercer came to town. And Mercer and Chattanooga really aren't that far apart, as the game on Wednesday, and for that matter Saturday, indicated. But Patrick Good's shooting for the Bucks, still, ice cold. It's suddenly, we don't know what's going on with Jerome Rodriguez. He's missed the last 5 games with foot injury. Of course, that's so ETSU, isn't it? Oh, no, we're not going to tell you what's going on. He's hurt. He's, all that. Mum's the word on it. Who's the guy that likes to call him out on that? Yeah. And, of course, 1,500 fewer people in the stands, which might be expected on a weekday as compared to a weekend when you think about it. But nevertheless, TeamRankings.com now has ETSU 33% chance to make the NCAAs, no chance as an at-large team. And that's kind of disappointing when you consider that there's a strong argument that can be made that this is the best ETSU team since Mr. Jennings was racking up assists. It's also there's beginning to be a feeling of underachievement surrounding the ETSU basketball program. Kind of like, the Dallas Cowboys before they won their first Super Bowl. That was a big thing if you watch the Super Bowl 6 highlight film, if you're into old NFL films like I am. But last year's CIT loss to Wisconsin Green Bay. Year before that, choking away the conference title regular season and thus losing an NIT berth. And then in the NCAAs back in 17, there was a second half lead that resulted into a rather lopsided Florida Gators victory in the NCAA tournament. So the last 3 years there have been tremendous underachievements for ETSU. Admittedly, all but a handful of teams, they go out on a loss or, that's the nature of college basketball. But, you look back at things and, Butler losing back-to-back NCAA finals doesn't seem like a letdown. For that matter, back in 16, ETSU winning 20 games and falling short in the conference title game to, Chattanooga. Doesn't seem like that bad of an ending when you think about it, going from 16 victories to more than 20, a new era for ETSU basketball. Losses in the conference final will happen. But, come on, Anyway, I still, though, think that ETSU should be considered for an at-large berth to the NCAAs. Call me a homer. Go ahead. I you know that I'm not, but call me. I just think that the Southern Conference is good. I think the Southern Conference is better than the 13th best basketball conference in the country. That's where they rank in the RPI. Give you this, after that Mercer victory against ETSU, 7 of the 10 teams in the Southern Conference have either a 500 or better record. 6 have winning records. Mercer is 500. That's overall. Now, you compare that to the Big East Conference. 10 teams in the Big East. They're rated number 1 in the RPI, and I know it's all about the NET now. But if we go to this, Big East has 10 of 10 teams with a winning record, and that's why they're number 1 in the RPI. Talking about 7 of 10 non-losing records, 6 winning, 1 500, and that's 13th. Now think about that for a second. I mean, is that really 13 different places? This season, Wofford out of the Southern Conference has defeated North Carolina, a struggling North Carolina team, but they defeated North Carolina. Second time in the last 3 years they defeated North Carolina. North Carolina Greensboro, otherwise known as UNCG. That's sort of like, calling UCLA, the University of California, Los Angeles, North Carolina, Greensboro now. But they've defeated Georgetown. Georgetown may be struggling in the Big East Conference this year, but overall they're 12-9 and ranked in the top 50 in terms of RPI. Furman defeated a strong Loyola of Illinois team. Yeah, the Ramblers went to the Final Four a couple of years ago, but they're still a strong team. Furman beat them. Those are the teams that are fighting with ETSU, three-way tie for first place in the loss column in the Southern Conference right now. And for that matter, Mercer is only 2 games back. They've got a shot at it as well. So I think that describes the overall talent of the conference. I mean, the loss to Mercer, that Mercer can come up and defeat ETSU, shows the strength of the conference. Let's not say from top to bottom, but at least from top to number 7. All right. And look, with the exception of Virginia Military, the Citadel, and Samford, this is still a pretty good league. Like I said, I mean, everybody's 500 or better, and 6 of those teams have winning records. I'm going to keep saying it until the cows come home. And the thought occurs, where would VMI be right now if they still had Bubba Parham? Bubba Parham, of course, last year's leading scorer in the Southern Conference, decided to transfer to Georgia Tech, where he struggled to get some playing time. He's only started 6 games and is only averaging 6 points a game. Think he's regretting his decision? Georgia Tech is mediocre. They've got a losing record just like VMI. With Parham, VMI could have been a real player. Certainly could have defeated Furman last night, took him to overtime before losing. And again, I think that shows the strength, the overall strength of the conference. And what I really think is that here's ETSU with 4 losses on the season. Now, you can say all you want to about Mercer, you can say all you want to about North Dakota State and all that, but over here's LSU, who also has lost 4 games out of conference, not to the strongest teams in the world, except ETSU, for this argument, certainly. And, of course, ETSU went to Baton Rouge in December and just dominated the Tigers, beat them by 11 points. It wasn't even that close. LSU is now leading the Southeastern Conference. And frankly, doesn't it seem the SEC is down? Nobody's going to hold it against Kentucky that they lost to South Carolina this year. But yet you'll hold it against ETSU that they lost to Mercer. And where I'm really going with this, of course, ETSU defeating LSU this year, LSU 7-0 in the Southeastern Conference. Both teams have 4 losses. Please explain to me then, if you are an AP pollster, why you wouldn't vote ETSU ahead of LSU. They beat them, and they have the same amount of losses. I don't get it either. Now, the one way I think ETSU maybe still can get that at-large berth. And yes, I know, TeamRankings.com, no chance. Never happened in the Southern Conference before. Almost happened last year. UNCG was team number 69 in a 68-team NCAA tournament. I get it. But I'm just wondering. Look, if LSU continues to win, if they dominate the SEC this year, if they go through with only 1 loss, win the regular season and tournament title, doesn't that bode well for an ETSU team if the Buccaneers continue as they have the last 3 years and come up a little bit short at the end and don't win the Southern Conference tournament? Something to think about. Look, Right now, the NET ranking has ETSU as number 66. But it doesn't work out that would mean in a 68-team tournament, oh, they just make it. By the way, UNCG, who ETSU will play on Saturday, they're number 67 in the NET rankings. You got to figure that the winner there, okay, they'll go up, and the loser will sort of fall out. Well, we got to win the tournament to make it, that sort of thing. But you just get the idea here. Southern Conference isn't getting the fair shake that they should. Said it before, said it again. Of course, the major conferences control college basketball, so this isn't going to happen. But if there was a commissioner of college basketball, here's what I'd do. All the regular season champs in the 31 conferences, you make the NCAAs. All the tourney champs, so do you. So the tournament still means something. That will result in at least 2 at-large berths for teams that could actually win the NCAAs. Probably more. Pardon me, folks. I just think it's the way to go to give value and worth to the regular season that college basketball right now doesn't have. When a team like ETSU can beat LSU, have the same record, and still not be considered to be in the same class of team, especially come tournament time or pollster time. I'm Marky Bilson.